life was meant for me.
A trooper's life was meant for me.
43 troopers paid the price.
43 troopers paid the price.
Blue the gold they sacrificed.
Blue the gold they sacrificed.
They're in our hearts, they're in our minds.
They're in our hearts, they're in our minds.
The trooper spirit never dies.
Trooper spirit never dies.
Hail, hail, I.P.
Hail, hail, I.P.
King of the road, follow me.
King of the road, come follow me.
Nothing in this world is free.
Nothing in this world is free.
The trooper's life was meant for me.
The trooper's life was meant for me.
They take campaign, help.
1.
I can hear you.
2.
A little bit louder now.
3.
Hold your head up high.
4.
And marching by.
1.
Come on.
2. 3.
All right.
4.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We like it here. We love it here. We finally found a home. A home. A home. A home away from home.
Got it. Oh.
Academy, right, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and remain standing for the advancement of the colors, the singing of the national anthem, and the invocation by Chaplain Coffey. Honor guard, advance the colors.
Academy, half, right, hey.
Probationary troopers Kaylee Galvin, Bryce Canning, and John Streeter Jr. will now sing our national anthem.
Officers, President, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Present.
Colors. Post.
Ready, face.
Present arms. Order arms. Ready, face.
Officer, order, order.
Recruits, right, face, forward, punch.
Academy, half, left, face.
Father Daniel Coffey, our state police chaplain, will now give the invocation. Father Coffey.
Thank you, sir. I invite you to pray. Almighty God, our Creator and Redeemer, on this beautiful summer evening as we gather for this particularly special event, the graduation and appointment of the 82nd Academy class of the Indiana State Police, we pause to recognize your blessings of good government, peace, and security within our society and our state. We honor those from within our families, friends, and next-door neighbors, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, moms and dads, who in their law enforcement profession stand on the front lines of peril and distress to ensure our rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people within our society. We especially note these outstanding men and women who now present themselves to receive official appointment as Indiana State Police troopers this evening. We publicly thank them for their willingness to enter into our emergencies in order to resolve the crises and render support, service, and criminal apprehension when indicated. We therefore beseech thy blessings upon this ceremony and upon these careers. Grant favor and success to the noble intentions of their hearts, the laudable efforts of their minds, and the honorable work of their hands. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy upon us and hear our prayer. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Superintendent Carter, Justice Goff, Executive Director Horty, Major Retired Jerome Ezel, Indiana State Police Board members, members of the primary staff, State Police Department members both active and retired, survivor families, family, and friends. I am Sergeant Harless, the Protocol Officer for the Indiana State Police, and on behalf of Superintendent Carter, the primary staff, the Training Division, the Recruit Academy staff, and the rest of the Indiana State Police family, we want to welcome you to the 82nd Indiana State Police Recruit Academy graduation. I would now like to invite Lieutenant Tom Hannon, the Recruit Academy Commander, to describe for us what this recruit class has accomplished to graduate to become Indiana State Police probationary troopers. He will then present the 82nd recruit class to the Superintendent. Lieutenant Hannon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight to recognize and honor 18 enthusiastic individuals, 13 men, 5 women, who are about to embark on a career as Indiana State Police troopers. This fine group of recruits started their training on January 9th, 2022. We call it Blue Sunday. They are the final product of 23 weeks of intense training and education. This process requires hard work, dedication, and commitment second to none. Their training and education covered a broad range of knowledge, skills, and abilities. Each component of their training was essential in preparing them for the responsibilities that they are about to assume. Their capabilities have been developed and fine-tuned to enable them to make critical decisions in a variety of diverse circumstances and constantly changing and evolving environments. The motto of the Indiana State Police Recruit Academy is excellence through discipline. The Recruit Academy staff, in numerous instructions, have given a vast amount of time, effort, and talent to transform these 18 individuals into the graduating members of the 82nd Recruit Academy class. They have instilled in them a passion to serve the citizens of the state of Indiana to the best of their abilities as Indiana State Troopers. 100% effort, 100% of the time. The journey that these recruits undertook while in the academy was not that different from many of the other Indiana State Police academies throughout the years. This class has faced several of the same challenges, and we have embedded into them the traditions of our culture and our core values. Like every academy class, they received an enormous amount of training. This class received 1,155 hours total of training to include online training, classroom instruction, hand-on and practical scenario-based training. In order to graduate, each recruit has successfully completed 5 physical assessments set forth by both the Indiana Law Enforcement Training Board and/or the Indiana State Police Department. Their diligence, perseverance, and most importantly, teamwork has allowed them to meet and in many cases surpass these academic and physical standards of excellence that has been expected of them. Family and friends, you should be very proud of their accomplishments. With that being said, Superintendent Carter, the 82nd Indiana State Police Recruit Academy presents to you 18 probationary troopers ready for employment.
Academy, take seats. Teacher, take seats.
It is now my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce the dignitaries present at this evening's graduation ceremony and ask that they stand to be recognized. Superintendent Douglas Carter, the 20th Superintendent of the Indiana State Police. Justice Christopher Goff, the 110th Justice of the Indiana Supreme Court. Major Retired Jerome Ezel, former legal counsel for the Indiana State Police. Executive Director Tim Horty, the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy Director. Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Hobson, Assistant Chief of Staff, Investigations. Major Dana Harshman, Commander, Indiana State Police Training Division. Lieutenant Tom Hannon, Commander, Indiana State Police Recruit Academy. Major Charles Sorrells, Assistant Chief of Staff, Human Resources and Administration. Major Robert Simpson, Assistant Chief of Staff, Communication and Information Systems. Father Daniel Coffey, Chaplain, Indiana State Police. Give a round of applause for these gentlemen and ladies. Thank you. You may be seated. And now please join me in welcoming the 20th Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Superintendent Douglas G. Carter.
I get to a lot of opportunities in this role, but I take none more seriously than this. And as to the family members, as I've said to them before, I wish I was them. I wish I could be sitting right there in one of those chairs. But I would like to welcome everyone to the graduation ceremony of the 82nd ISP Recruit Academy. We are so very fortunate to have with us Justice Christopher Goff and his wife Raquel. With us tonight, the State Police Board members, J.J. Ivory, Mr. and Mrs. David Graves, Tom Weiss, Emmett Carney, President Jim Olszewski. I'm also very honored to stand here with ISP commanders, staff members, civilian professional staff, and a training division that is truly second to none. Finally, a very public acknowledgement of my wife Carol and daughter Leanne for your steadfast support and love through these very, very difficult times. What a day. During week 1 of this recruit school, I vividly remember saying to this very class that this will all be worthwhile on graduation day because it will be held in one of the most sacred and historic landmarks in Indiana, this very rotunda. This very rotunda. Of course, my congratulations to each of you, but also to your families that have held the fort while you have been away. And I sure recognize and appreciate that sacrifice. It seems like our entire world is out of balance, that at every turn there is conflict, disagreement, historical social divide, violence never before experienced, at least in our lifetimes, and financial crisis that have stressed nearly every family in America. Our very profession is at a place that I never could have possibly predicted. These last few years have certainly caused us to reflect, evaluate, and analyze all we do. I, for one, am not afraid of that very process. In fact, I welcome it. I welcome it because our profession is not without sin. Those comments don't belong to me. Those words are owned by a fellow by the name of Ed Flynn, who was a police chief in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the heels of Ferguson, Missouri, and the unrest that was caused there many years ago now. But I was watching him on TV one afternoon, and he was being criticized by a local media station about the murder of a beautiful 8-year-old little girl. And he finally had had enough, and he stopped, and he turned, and he said, "My profession is not without sin." Went on to talk about the human aspect of policing. Those words changed my life. It made me realize that we can't run away from criticism. We must welcome it. We must recognize this fact, and we must never, ever forget. I think our profession in general has been very much unfriendly cast and defined through the actions of only a very few. In order for us to successfully get through this period of time, in a period that will be studied for decades to come, we must be willing to get uncomfortable and not let history repeat itself in the coming years. No longer can we rely only on our profession to hope for respect. We must earn it like never before through our actions, our attitudes, and our interactions with our citizens. They matter now more than ever before. We've had so many opportunities to interact with this incredible group of people. And I wish there was time to sit with each of you to talk about what you've seen them do over time. I think with the legacies, I have a pretty good idea what they would say to me. But for those of you that are not accustomed to this environment and this culture, I'd be so interested to know the changes that you've seen. Thank you for sharing them with us, but we're just getting started. They've been through a grueling, exhaustive, and complex academy by design. They've been taught that everything they did had a purpose. I remember saying that early on, and they'd look at me like I had 2 or 3 heads. But over time, look what's happened. They must understand, and I believe that they do, that their actions matter, whether they're on duty or off. Dressed like us, dressed like them, or dressed like you. Everyone in the community will know who they are, and they'll be expected to live up to the values that they understand. To the staff that I have great admiration for and respect. These trainers within the training division and all those visiting instructors from around the state have sacrificed an incredible amount of their time to help them along the way with no recognition. So it's very appropriate of me to at least publicly thank them for their commitment and dedication. We normally have 1 school a year to those out there that are unfamiliar with the ISP. But for a number of reasons, our academy class now, like everybody else's around the country, has a diminished number, but a humongous soul. By having 2 classes back to back, we can net obviously more people than just 1 class annually, but it takes a tremendous burden from recruiting to administration, certainly to Major Harshman and to the academy staff and all of the districts that supply our instructors to come here and spend time with your loved ones. But that's just what we do. That's just what we do. Some would suggest that this is a terrible time to get into this profession. But I would suggest to you there's never been a better time to be in this profession. It's time for me to hand it off to the next generation. I hope when they get to be me, they don't have to apologize for the way things are. And they've taken that challenge. I'm so proud of them. I am so proud of them. These current challenges that we face will not be the norm. And we will recover. We're going to be okay. And then imagine the possibility. To the moms and dads, husbands, wives, kids, and significant others, please know that we stand ready to not only support your loved one, but also each of you. Also each of you. We are not perfect and we fuss with one another. But when things get really, really bad, there's not a more steadfast group of public servants than the members of this agency. As time goes on, from this point forward, these young troopers are going to see and do things that are not normal. You see, death, dying, destruction, hurt, pain, and sorrow are a part of so many of our days in this profession, and over time tend to negatively affect each of us. And it sure has affected me over the years. No one is exempt. They are not exempt. We must be able to recognize those signs and the impact it has over time, while at the same time having already built support mechanisms to help not only the trooper but their family as well. Major Sorrells and his staff have completely committed those services to all of you. To the recruits, do not expect your families to understand what you're about to experience, because they can't. Don't expect them to. Don't expect them to. You must keep them close. To the families, do not try and understand, but keep a close eye. All will be well, and hear me when I say we're here for you. In closing, I stand before you as one of the proudest, blessed, and luckiest men alive. I get to represent this profession at a level that I could not have dreamed of as a little boy that grew up in a state police family. I promise each of you that I will always strive to prepare your loved one, to properly train your loved one, and to always protect and watch over them. You see, your recruit and each of you are now a part of us. We have many reasons to have extraordinary hope for our future, and I really believe that now is our time. Imagine the possibility. I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker. You know, over the course of your career, you have people that have tremendous influence on you. And the guest speaker tonight is retired Major Jerry Ezell. I went through recruit school in 1984. And Jerry was an instructor there. I thought, my gosh, he's senior. That was 38 years ago. And Jerry Ezell has brought so much kindness and so much passion and so much honor and so much dedication and so much commitment over the course of his lifetime that we felt it was absolutely worthy of him standing on this very stage. As we look back in time, the perspective of history becomes pretty clear. Jerry Ezell started on the state police at a time when young black men weren't here. He endured some very, very difficult days that I can't even begin to comprehend or understand. As a former United States Marine, He joined the ranks of the state police in 1968. Jerry, I was 6.
I was 8.
A recruiter from 1973 to 1974, a detective in criminal investigation from 1976 to 1979, chief legal counsel 2006, a legal advisor from 1980 to 2010, and honorably retired in 2010. What I love about Jerry Ezell is he never changes. He never changes. And the very essence of who he is lies within these young recruits. He still watches over us to this day. And you'll get an email or a text from him sometimes at 2 in the morning. And sometimes that email or text is, hey, I'm just thinking about you. Thank you for what you're doing. They matter to me more than he can ever possibly know. So without any further ado, please, please help me welcome with a very warm round of applause, Major Jerry Ezell.
Thank you very much, and I don't want to throw bouquets back and forth, but I served under a lot of superintendents. It was a big joke after I had over 40 years on the department, and I never really looked at retirement. You know, guys that look at retirement for a couple of years and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I'll be quite honest with you, I never looked at retirement until maybe it was like 3 or 4 months, and then I realized I got to retire, and it was like 41 years had gone by, and it seemed like it was still 1968. It was 2010. But I served on a lot of superintendents, and I'm not trying to throw a bouquet back at Doug, but he stands at the very top of the superintendents I served under, and I knew many of them personally and worked for them personally. As a lower level trooper, you don't think about, you know, the superintendent that much. You just hope he doesn't bump into you and see something wrong about your uniform. But one day, you people will be the leadership on this department. And, you know, it's just, people always joke to me, they say, you know, after I got about 40, 38, 37 years on, they said, you came in with the horses. When the state police rode horses, you were there. And it was a standing joke throughout 92 counties, throughout the state. Everybody joked me like that. And that was fine. I just never thought of retiring. I never thought of leaving. And I tell you why. Because this is a premier organization. I see people out there I know. I see a lot of people out there I know. And I've just been around a long time. And I've been around all 92 counties in Indiana. Oftentimes I call myself a fireman because I was putting out fires all over the state. And I was a policeman, but I joked I was a firefighter because I was putting fires out. Every time something happened in a different county, I get a call and had to go. And it's just been it was a wonderful tour of duty. I met wonderful friends. I never would have went to law school had it not been for the department giving me that opportunity. And it's just been a wonderful ride, and I'm not done yet. And as Doug says, I still am involved with the Alliance and other investigative matters with special prosecutors around the state, so I enjoy it. With my son, who's a police officer out in Colorado, I had 1 out of 3 that followed me into law enforcement, and I want to go on a little bit of history with you. And he says, don't go too much history, Dad. He says, just tell him a joke, you know, so. So that's what he sent me an email today. But I'm not really good at jokes, so I'll tell you a little bit of history. You know, you're joining just a long line of protectors of the public. And the public doesn't always appreciate it. They don't know it. They don't realize it until you're gone. Sometimes they'll give you a handshake. Sometimes they'll write you a letter to the superintendent for you. And that's good. It goes in your personnel file. But the general public, they see you, they're fearful, and if they're on the wrong end, then you're wrong, when in fact you're right. And you have to realize that and keep the goal of true, impartial law enforcement ahead of you. That's what you're out there for. And there's a big saying now among law enforcement, and Doug kind of touched on it a little bit there, Superintendent Carter. The saying now nationwide, at universities, among law enforcement professionals, chiefs, nobody wants to be the police because nationwide we're having a difficult time. And you'll hear me say we oftentimes because I never feel I've separated myself from the department. But law enforcement is having a difficult time getting people like you with the courage that still want to be the police. And I'm so proud to see you here. It just kind of wells over me, actually, to see you sitting there. Whenever I see a graduating class at an academy, whether it's Nylea up north or here or Fort Wayne or Indianapolis, wherever I see young people, whether it's Chicago, PD, New York, taking the oath of office, I get a well over me that it's hard to explain, because your families have no idea what you're entering into. You don't have much of an idea what you're entering into. Your instructors, your trainers have done all they can do, and now it's up to you. And your history as a law enforcer goes all the way back to the Roman times, when some of the Roman centurions were delegated to protect the Roman cities, the towns and areas that were under Roman control from evildoers. There are bad people out there, people who don't respect other people. They have no morals or rights. And then it comes up through King Louis in France in the 1600s, when he started a police department and had people policing. In the same way through Robert Peel, who I know you've studied Robert Peel in England. And when they had Bow Street runners, thief catchers, these were all people who were your progenitors in law enforcement. And then it came over here with the English when they settled our country. And they started the marshals and the sheriffs from England, the sheriffs. And they were throughout this country as the country was being settled. And then, of course, we had Boston, New York, Chicago, those police departments that were formed in the 1800s. You are all part of that lineage of those officers, those people who are willing to put themselves on the line. And when we say that, it's not metaphorical, it's real. It's real. Unfortunately, one of my young trainees who I considered a friend, I was his FTO back in the 60s, early 70s, I should say. Unfortunately, he lost his life to evildoers. And I think about John Strew frequently. He was my shift partner. So your relatives have to know. You have to know that your sons and daughters, your nieces, nephews, uncles, cousins, good friends, they're not plumbers. They're not destined to come home every day. They're not carpenters. They're not bus drivers. They're in a dangerous profession. I thought hard whether I should say this, but I feel I must. And you know it. They know it. We don't want any of them injured. We don't want anything to happen to any of these precious people. But they're not destined every night to come home on time. I once told my wife, I says, because she got so used to it, after 40 years, I'd come home every night, late most nights, but I came home early morning. And I told her, I said, you never seem like you were worried. You never worried. She says, oh, I was all the time. She told me that just recently. I spoke to her. And I said to my former wife, I says, you didn't seem like you really cared. She says, oh, I did. She says, I was worried all the time. But she said, I didn't want to let you know about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And I have a son in Colorado who's a police officer. And I was fearful when he married my daughter-in-law because she had not come from a law enforcement family. And I wondered, if something happens to Jason, will she be able to understand or take it? Because she hadn't been around us. They met in college. But she understands now because there's been tragedy before his police department. So you need to understand, give them all the love you can every day, because no day for law enforcement, for no one in America, I understand that. But they are doing something every day that's dangerous. And we got to protect them. They've got the training from their instructors. They get all of the material and equipment they need. Superintendent Carter makes sure of that. But none of us are impervious, particularly those who are doing this job day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. And some of you we know may go on to other professions, other departments. We understand that. That's part and parcel. Superintendent has, when he chose you to go to the recruit school, he reposed great confidence in you. He thought you could make it and you could become a state police officer and uphold all the ideals since the 1930s that our department has upheld. Don't disappoint him. You've done the first part of what he wanted. Now you're going to enter. You thought DTs and EVOC and all that was tough. Wait till you get out there on your own and you're on the back county road stopping someone, or you get a call because someone in their home is fearful and there's no one there but one person, and you have to go because your next assistance is not 5 minutes away. That's when the rubber really hits the road. So you've got to take care, you've got to be cautious, but you can only do so many things, and we understand that. We want you to realize that as you enter this profession, there's no other like it. You're going to be exposed to so many people. Here I am sitting next to a Supreme Court justice. Did I think that would ever happen in 1968 when I came out of Ivanhoe Projects in Gary, Indiana? I never thought it would happen. Your future is determined by your actions and how much you do. You can make it pretty much. I'm not saying everything you want, but you can make it pretty much what you want. They always say everybody can be president in this country. Well, everybody can't be president, but you can do a lot. You can achieve so much in the years ahead. Now, you've been given the foundation, and I'm not going to speak much longer. You've been given the foundation with all the statutes, all the rules, all the regulations, all the SOPs, all the case law, the justices, like Justice Goff, bring down. You have to know all of that in performing your duties. Make sure you do know those things. Make sure you understand it. If you have a question about something, you know you've completed everything, call your legal instructor. Call Lieutenant Wood. Call your DT instructor. Call your EVOC instructor. Because when you put the uniform on after graduation, you're only partially there. Most police officers know and realize, and you will also, it takes 3 to 5 years before you really feel grounded in this profession. The public doesn't know that. You stop that car, you go to that detail, they think you've got 20 years experience behind you. If you don't know, there's nothing wrong with pausing, take a moment, call someone, your FTO, whoever, who knows. Don't go out on a limb. Try your best not to. Go back to the car, get into the book, get on the computer, look up the statute. So what you say to the public, it does matter, and you want to try your best to be accurate. These are just practical tips that I'm discussing at this point. You got people throughout Indiana, 92 counties, they expect you to know everything. You can't, but you'll know more than the average bear. I guarantee you that. You already do, and you'll be learning so very, very, very much more. Catalog that in your brain, and it'll be a good resource when you need it. You'll be quite surprised. And your friends and your neighbors, they'll be coming to you for authority because they're going to soon recognize, geez, he or she knows more than I do. He or she knows more than that guy who told me that at work. That wasn't accurate. The officer showed me and told me. You're expected to be a resource for your community, and you will be. So make sure you're an accurate resource. Now, I'm going to end with just a few short snippets of things that I've seen over my career that I would give you as advice. If you remember one of them, that's fine. Because I don't remember who spoke at my ceremony in 1968, and you're not going to remember me, okay? So that was a long time ago, and pretty soon this will be a long time in your memory also, okay? However, I've seen this occur over and over when I was on the road as a detective, as a recruiter, and as a legal advisor. If you make an error, quickly acknowledge it to your supervisor. Tell them right away. Don't wait for someone to tell them. Don't hope the best will occur and they'll never find out. Just explain to them what you've done and that you made an error. It'll go so much better in the future. I can guarantee you that. Cooperate with the prosecutor. If you disagree with the prosecutor, be respectful. If you disagree with a court ruling, be respectful. Don't go out in the public bad-mouthing a court, prosecutor, These are people who we're all in the same track. Your job is to detain, bring the person to justice if possible, and then the court does the rest, and the prosecutor prior to the court and with the court does the rest. Now this is the one, I hesitate to say it in front of lay people, civilians, but I saw it occur over and over and over, and I've told many classes this when I was instructing the criminal law for our department. If you're called to the scene of a criminal matter and it involves one of your relatives, don't get involved unless it's an extreme emergency. Someone has a dispute, whether civil or criminal, with one of your relatives, because your relatives are going to call you. These who are here now, they probably won't because they heard me say this, but your other ones will. You call another agency or you call the department. If you're in another agency's jurisdiction, call another agency. Otherwise, you can call the department, of course. But do not think that you're so impartial, because you are, but the other side will never agree that you were impartial in the way you handled the matter. So don't get involved with your relatives' criminal or civil matters, thinking that you can mediate because you've done it before with others, because the other party will never think you did it in an accurate or unbiased manner. Anything in your case reports that you see you've made an error, or crash reports, correct it. Just correct it as soon as you see it. Notify your supervisor you made an error, you misstated something. Don't be so proud as to say, well, I'm not correcting it. We hear this so often, not from our department, but I've heard it from many people. They say, there was a mistake here. They might be wrong, whatever, but at least talk to the person. Hear their version. Maybe you were so busy out there you missed something. You know, it's possible. It's possible. And the last one that I've always said, treat the public the same as you'd want your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother treated by an officer in another jurisdiction. Just because you wear that uniform and you look resplendent in it, I say that today, I'm so happy. I had to give it up. But treat the public the same as you'd want another officer from Oklahoma, Missouri, Washington State, anywhere else in this state to treat your mom or dad if they had an encounter with them, whatever it is. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. At this time, the oath of office for the 82nd recruit class will be administered by the Honorable Christopher M. Goff. Christopher Goff was appointed to the Indiana Supreme Court by Governor Eric Holcomb in June of 2017. He took the oath of office as Indiana's 110th Justice on July 24, 2017. Justice Goff was born in Wabash, Indiana in 1972. After graduating from high school there, he attended Ball State University, graduating summa cum laude in 1994, and then earned his law degree at the Indiana University Muir School of Law in 1996. Before joining the Indiana Supreme Court, he served as Wabash County Superior Court Judge for 12 years. During his service on the trial bench, he established the Wabash County Drug Court and the Wabash County Family Drug Treatment Court. Justice Goff and his wife, Raquel, have 4 children and 3 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Honorable Justice Goff.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To promote, protect, and defend.
To promote, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
The Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
And the state of Indiana.
And the state of Indiana.
Against all enemies, foreign or domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign or domestic.
And that I will faithfully and justly discharge.
I will faithfully and justly discharge
the law enforcement duties entrusted to me
the law enforcement duties entrusted to me
by the Indiana State Police
by the Indiana State Police
in a manner that provides the most professional, effective, and courteous police service possible at all times and with every endeavor according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Major Dana Harshman, the Training Division Commander, to give a few remarks and begin the introductions of the Academy staff. Ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and again, welcome. Today, my job is to thank all of those that have worked so hard to get these recruits to graduation day. First, I would like to thank Superintendent Carter and his staff who have been so supportive and helpful throughout this journey. A thank you to every instructor who taught at the Academy. I greatly appreciate the dozens of instructors from across the state, some of who are here tonight, who have provided guidance and instruction while often being away from home and their loved ones for extended periods of time. These instructors worked countless hours out in the rain and weather to ensure these recruits received the best possible training to prepare them for the field. A thank you to the commanders who have their own responsibilities to the communities they serve throughout the state, but still manage to allow their personnel to come to the Academy and teach these young new recruits. A special thank you to the Training Division and staff and counselors. Their dedication and passion for what they do never ceases to amaze me. Thank you today also goes out to the families of the 82nd Recruit Academy. While you recruits were learning criminal law, how to shoot, how to fight, and how to drive, your family was at home carrying the burden of keeping the home front working. They were the ones providing support to your loved ones, taking care of sick kids, dealing with cars that would not start, as life did not stop for them while you were away these last 23 weeks. They were the ones encouraging you during your nightly phone calls not to give up, only to hang up the phone and turn on the news and see the world that awaits you. So to the families of the 82nd Recruit School, thank you and welcome to the ISP family. In regards to today's society, a much-deserved thank you goes to the recruits of the 82nd Academy. In a time when policing is under such scrutiny, you chose freely to commit to this profession and make the sacrifices necessary to be part of something important. It gives me great hope in our future to know we have people like you willing to take on the challenge, willing to go places most people run from, and who are willing to provide a service that is so desperately needed now more than ever. So to thank you to the recruits of the 82nd Academy for stepping up and being willing to serve. As we begin introductions to the Recruit Academy staff, I first want to recognize Captain Michael Dennison, the Assistant Commander of the Training Division. Among his many duties, Captain Dennison has direct oversight of the Recruit Academy. There is nothing about the Recruit Academy in which he is not intimately involved in. His leadership and management of our training program is truly remarkable. My last thank you goes to the glue that holds this whole recruit school together and who shoulders the bulk of this responsibility, Lieutenant Tom Hannon. Lieutenant Hannon is a 37-year veteran of the Indiana State Police, having graduated from the 43rd Recruit Academy in 1985. He was assigned to the Terre Haute post, where he worked in various positions for most of his career, including a trooper on the road, along with being a member of the Tactical Intervention Platoon, an original member of the Clandestine Laboratory Investigative Team. He served for a time as a high-performance vehicle trooper, a canine trooper. He was a field training officer, and he also served as a member of the SWAT team. He's an instructor in firearms, control tactics, TACMED, radar, and emergency vehicle operations. He was promoted to leadership roles at the district, serving as a corporal, then as a sergeant, supervising a squad of troopers. In 2015, he was promoted to his current role as the recruit school commander. His experience and vast knowledge of so many areas of police work make him uniquely qualified to lead our academy. It is with great pride and admiration that I introduce again our Recruit School Commander, Lieutenant Tom Hannon.
I would like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank my bosses, Captain Dennison, Major Harshman, all the way up to Superintendent Carter, for allowing me to have the opportunity to do the job that I do for the department. It's a very rewarding job. The other thing I'd like to take a quick opportunity to talk about is the fact that, again, I graduated from the academy just a year after Superintendent Carter, and I think he left out one word when he described Major Ezell. I would have used the word very entertaining. I found his lectures at the academy very entertaining at times. So thank you for that from years ago. Also, I appreciate the fact that you talked about the horses with your generation. My staff that I'm getting ready to introduce to you believe that the superintendent and I were around when horses were here, and that's not quite true. So with no further ado here, I would like to recognize the Training Academy staff. So the first person that I'd like to introduce to you is Sergeant Brent Cox, the Assistant Commander. Next will be Sergeant Nicole Cheeks, my Staff Sergeant. Next is Master Trooper Tyler Vaness. He's my Senior Counselor. Next is Senior Trooper Tyler Bentledge. He is one of my counselors, and he is in charge of B Squad. Next up is Trooper Carmen Hoddle. She is also one of my squad counselors. She's in charge of Squad A. Next is Trooper Trent Jones, also a squad counselor. He's in charge of Squad C. And last is Trooper Sam Redino. He's a squad counselor and he's in charge of Squad D. A little bit of information about these individuals. Between them, they have the following credentials: 3 college degrees. There are certified instructors in, 5 of them are certified instructors in 4 different disciplines, and they have a lot of specialty schools underneath their belts as well. One served in the United States Air Force. More importantly to me, though, in the department, together, those individuals have a total of 63 years of law enforcement experience with the Indiana State Police Department. The recruits will tell you that these counselors demanded nothing but their absolute best when it came to all facets of academy life and training. I am honored that I get to serve with individuals like this that want to come to the academy and be mentors and trainers as well. So for their efforts, I would hope that you would join me with a round of applause for their work. It is now time to present members of the 82nd Recruit class with their Indiana State Police badges, their officer IDs, their oath of office certificate, and their law enforcement training board certificates. Anyone in the audience who would like to take photos at this time may do so, but please don't block the aisle where the troopers will need to be going to and from the stage, if you don't mind. Also, if I could ask all of you to hold your applause until all probationary troopers have crossed the stage and received their articles, I would appreciate it. Austin J. Baylor, going to the Sellersburg post. Kaylee G. Galvin, going to the low post. Haley L. Howard, going to the Indianapolis post. Her badge will be presented to her by her stepfather, retired Master Trooper Mark Clefane. Brandon J. Howell, going to the Lafayette post. Bryce C. Canning, going to the Fort Wayne post. Blake M. Marcy, going to the Evansville post. David L. Miller II, going to the Indianapolis post. Grayson M. Morrison, going to the Indianapolis post. Leah R. Schnell, going to the Jasper post. Her badge will be presented by her mother, retired Sergeant Julie Schnell. Garrett W. Schroeder, going to the Lafayette post. His badge will be presented by his father, retired Major Ed Schroeder. Austin M. Sloan, going to the toll road post. Chelsea M. Smith, going to the Lafayette post. John R. Streeter, Jr., going to the toll road post. Peyton P. Utterback, going to the Versailles post. His badge will be presented by his father, Lieutenant Ty Utterback. Adriana K. Ward, going to the Peru post. Purdue post. Brian S. Weigel, going to the Versailles post. His badge will be presented by his father, Sergeant Steve Weigel. Avery J. Weisbrot, going to the Pendleton post. Taylor R. Wolf, going to the Sellersburg post. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please join me in a round of applause to recognize the 82nd Indiana State Police Recruit Academy. Prior to Superintendent Carter giving the next two awards, I would like to recognize the following recruits for breaking 3 of our physical training records. What I'm talking about there is every class, everybody that joins the Indiana State Police Department is required to take a physical fitness test. Our physical fitness test is a 5-component test of a vertical jump, so many push-ups, so many sit-ups, a 300-meter run, and a 1.5-mile run. 3 of those records were broke this year, one by one of the gentlemen in the class and one by one of the ladies in the class. So first of all, the first one that I want to talk about is probationary trooper Peyton Utterback broke the push-up record for the males. The previous record, which was 226 push-ups, was held by Trooper Brian Robbins, and that was set 12 years ago. Probationary Trooper Utterback told the staff he was going to put it out of reach, and he did. He completed 278 push-ups on the PT test, putting the old record behind by 52. So I think his record may stand for a few decades. So a round of applause. The next probationary trooper that I want to talk about is probationary trooper Kylie Galvin. She broke 2 records for the females. The first record she broke was the 300-meter record for the females. The previous record was held by Trooper Danielle Elwood Henderson of 48 seconds. Probationary Trooper Galvin ran it in 44, beating it by 4 seconds. She also set another record, the push-up record for the female, which was actually broken last year with a record of 80. She did a total of 92. So a round of applause for her as well. If we could just get better food at the academy, you'd be amazed at the athletes that we could produce. Our PT guy, Mr. Torrance, does a wonderful job. A lot of the family and friends that are here tonight, I'm sure, can tell the difference in the physical aspect of your loved ones if we could just get them some better food. All right, with that being said, Superintendent Carter will now present the Firearms Proficiency Award to the top marksman of the class and the Superintendent's Award to the top recruit of the class. The Firearms Proficiency Award is awarded to the recruit who shoots the highest average score during firearms qualification. This average is based on 3 consecutive handgun qualifications, 3 consecutive patrol rifle qualifications, and finally, their final exam. The recipient of this award this year scored a 100% average on both his handgun and his backup weapon, a 96.67 on his patrol rifle, and scored a 95 on the final exam. The recipient of the 82nd Recruit Academy Firearms Proficiency Award is Probationary Trooper Garrett W. Schroeder.
Chip off the old block, Ed.
The Superintendent's Award is presented to the recruit who during the Academy stood out in all aspects of the training. This recruit was in the top percentile in the following categories: academics, firearms, defensive tactics, emergency vehicle operations, report writing, TAC Med, and their leadership abilities. In fact, this recruit was voted by their peers on 2 separate occasions in the top percentile of their class. Based on their overall performance, this individual was voted on by the Academy staff and placed in charge as a squad leader as well of their squad. The recipient of the 82nd Recruit Academy Superintendent's Award, and they also broke a record, is probationary trooper Peyton P. Utterback.
Another chip off the old block.
I would now like to have probationary trooper Chelsea Smith approach the podium for comments from the 82nd Recruit Academy class.
I want to begin by thanking everyone that has come to support our graduation tonight. I also want to say thank you to Superintendent Carter, Justice Goff, Executive Director Horty, primary staff members, training section members, and all of the Academy staff. Without all your dedication to the Recruit Academy, my fellow recruits and I wouldn't be where we are today. There are 3 traits that I believe describe the 82nd Recruit class, and those are hard work, dedication, and commitment. We have applied these traits to everything we have done up to this point, because as Lieutenant Hannon says, how you do anything is how you do everything. Throughout the past 23 weeks, the 82nd Recruit class has worked hard to get where we are today. From long, brutal workouts to putting everything together that we learned together during scenario-based training, we have persevered. We kept going even when tested to our breaking point. That is dedication. We will now take the same dedication and apply it to being a trooper. Commitment was another trait required of us to make through the Academy. We were committed to making personal sacrifices. We gave up being able to see our families every day and having simple privileges such as being able to have a cell phone whenever we want or the ability to come and go as we please. My fellow recruits and I have proved that we are ready to be Indiana State Troopers, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to help protect and serve the citizens of Indiana. For some of us, it felt just as yesterday that we arrived at the Academy for Blue Sunday. No matter how many times we prepped ourselves by watching previous class videos on YouTube, nothing could really prepare us for that day. It all started standing at attention at our vehicles, waiting for the Academy staff to come give us a grand greeting. As we watched them march out in formation in front of us, I knew I wasn't the only one feeling the nervousness come over me for what was about to happen. The staff began to greet each of us individually. They scrutinized our paperwork, vehicles, and personal appearance, while staff members was inches away from your face and you could feel the intensity in his or her voice. At this point, I'm sure many of us were asking ourselves, what have I gotten myself into? This was only the beginning to a long day and a longer 23 weeks. As the weeks went on, we grew accustomed to being in the front lean position and to doing bear crawls. Then sooner than we expected, we were faced with our first big challenge, the 2 versus 1 hitman. Nothing could have prepared us for the situation we were about to enter. I can easily speak for my fellow classmates and say the experience on the mat was something we never want to go through again. This, however, was a time to prove not only to our instructors and Academy staff, but also to ourselves that we have the drive and the will to fight and not give up. The training exercise was a difficult lesson, but it gave us all a deep motivation to learn the technical hands-on skills that will keep us and the public safe. We experienced some grueling PT workouts during the 23 weeks we were at the Academy. Our most memorable PT session was the early morning wake-up call. Nothing makes you jump out of bed faster than a counselor pounding and yelling at your door to get out of bed and get downstairs. I can't speak for all the rooms, but I know my room during these times was mass chaos. Trying to get dressed while half asleep, to running into your roommates because you can't get your bearing yet from the shock of being woke up. Some of these workouts led to the development of a new exercise, the streeter shuffle. This is where you push yourself so hard in a workout that your legs give out and you are unable to stand or walk without almost falling over with each step. Later, when everyone is home with their loved ones, I am sure they could all give you a demonstration of exactly what the streeter shuffle looks like. Our training was comprehensive and far more extensive than I had imagined. We did countless hours of driving, fighting, and shooting. We experienced the realities of OC spray and taser exposure. We studied criminal law and traffic law. We completed numerous scenarios. We had successes, and we made mistakes. We paid the price for our mistakes, often in burpees. However, what we learned was far greater than the price we paid. If you approach even the smallest task with hard work, dedication, and commitment to doing the right thing, you will be successful, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Of course, we did have times that we enjoyed at the Academy, those including snack time, bedtime, free evenings, and getting to go to bed early. We found ourselves towards the end of the Academy looking back on all that we had went through and now being able to laugh about some of the moments we thought were completely brutal at the time. We also laugh about how we were all scared in the evenings, if we had free time for studying, to step out of our rooms to get water or ask a question, because there was always a fear that the counselors were going to call your name. I can't imagine learning these lessons with any other group of people. We had learned early on that if we didn't work as a team, we would never be successful. I truly feel that I have gained 13 brothers and 4 sisters. We learned that we need to have each other's backs and to be there to support one another when times got tough. It was always nice knowing that you had people by your side going through the same challenges as you. We cheered each other on every step of the way, and as we take the next step in our career, we can take comfort in knowing none of us are alone. Not only did we gain our small class family at the Academy, but today we get the honor of becoming a part of a much larger family, the Indiana State Police family. As I end my speech this evening, I know that throughout the last 23 weeks, we all had multiple times where we thought this day would never get here. Through hard work, dedication, and commitment, we made it through all the toughest tasks that came our way. We are prepared to serve the state of Indiana with loyalty and integrity. As we move forward and begin our careers, I urge all of us to take pride in all we do, and remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. Thank you. Academy, on your feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction given by Chaplain Coffey and remain standing for the retirement of the colors as well as the dismissal of the 82nd Recruit Academy class. Photographs of probationary troopers with their family and friends can be taken behind the stage curtain after the official 82nd class photograph, which will be taken in front of the stage after pinning. Please be careful driving as you make your way either to your hotel room or home tonight. Thank you for attending tonight's ceremony and welcoming our new probationary troopers into the Indiana State Police family. Chaplain.
Thank you, sir. My prayer for you is that mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you in abundance. May you be encouraged by these ancient words of promise. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Academy, half right face. Officers, order, march.
Ready. Face. Ready. Face. Forward, long.
Order, march. Academy, half, right, face. Hold it. Detail, forward, march. Left, 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 right, left.